Hello everyone and welcome back. It's been crazy out there lately, hasn't it? It's only getting worse. It feels like years have passed since Australia was on fire. And that was just, what, a few months ago? Now, the US faces such things as the looming threat of murder wasps, laser gators, and the continued trend of race-compelled police brutality. I'm only making one of those up. And sadly, it's the fun one, too. In fact, the latter is our topic for today, the least reasonable of all. There are many incidents, but perhaps few are as well known or talked about as the recent murder of George Floyd. If you're not familiar with the incident, we could touch on that. On May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin arrested George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man. A deli employee called 911 accusing him of attempting to purchase a pack of cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. 17 minutes after the first squad car arrived, Mr. Floyd was unconscious, pinned underneath three officers, showing no signs of life. After combining videos from witnesses, security cam, reviewing official documents, and consulting experts, the New York Times reconstructed in detail the last few minutes of Mr. Floyd's life. As he was unable to breathe, he called for help. Onlookers called for help. 8 minutes and 46 seconds, Chauvin had him pinned to the ground with his knee dug in the back of his neck. Both Chauvin and another officer directly involved have had long histories of violence. Officer Tao settled an excessive force case out of court just a couple years ago in 2017. Chauvin has been involved in multiple deaths and shootings previously and has many complaints filed against him. And there are troubles with the stories too. One witness to the shooting of 23-year-old Leroy Martinez said, "He had no reason to shoot that little boy." She said he surrendered and he shot him. George Floyd's family commissioned an autopsy. Both the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office and the commissioned autopsy by Floyd's family ruled that the death was in fact a homicide and directly result of the officer pinning his neck to restrain him. Officer Chauvin has been charged with murder. The others involved have been fired and are currently being investigated. Now, the use or attempted use of counterfeit currency is federally illegal if the user has the intent to defraud the individual. There are also multiple states with their own punishments for counterfeit as well. Criminal intent is important to prove though. I'm no lawyer yet, so I'm only so knowledgeable in the subject. Not nearly as much as one of my favorite creators and fellow suave suit enthusiasts, Devin J. Stone from over at Legal Eagle. He would be way more helpful than myself. And hey Devin, we ought to get together for a suave party. I would love to pick your brain and learn some of that wisdom. As I was saying, the burden to prove intent still exists. Fraud is not an inherently violent crime, nor did his actions that I witnessed in the video warrant a violent response. For a quick comparison of another case involving counterfeit money just this year, let's look at Vincent Aprisco, a 55-year-old man who was charged Tuesday, March 17th, 2020, on a warrant accusing him of passing out counterfeit bills on two separate occasions. Along with those two pending cases, he was charged with first-degree forgery in that arrest. They let him free on a promise to return on April 20th. Oh, and he was passing a counterfeit $100 bill if the amount means anything to you. Aprisco has been convicted 10 times since 2012 for numerous larceny counts, probation violation, assault, criminal trespassing, and threatening. He had been sentenced to prison time in 7 of those cases, totaling over 3 years. The pending cases include a larceny and a criminal trespass on January 28th, and a larceny arrest on February 26th, again of the same year. This man is a career criminal who committed similar crimes 3 consecutive months in a row. He was allowed to walk free for over a month, while this man, who is neither prosecuted nor behaving violently, will never walk again. You might be able to notice a subtle difference between these two. This whole situation makes a lot of people unhappy, especially since this is not an isolated incident. George Floyd is one of 44 people that Minneapolis police have rendered unconscious with the inappropriate knee restraint in the last 5 years. Oh, and police records show that 3/5 of them were black. It's beginning to look a lot like racist. And that makes a lot of people very unhappy. There have been many protests following this event, the most famous of which was in Minneapolis itself, where many buildings, including a police station, were burned to the ground. Now, there are many ways to protest something, so we're just going to talk about the two most common ones: peaceful protests and the not so peaceful riots. I was involved in a peaceful protest in June 1st, 2020 in my own town. For 2 hours we rallied. We marched up and down Main Street in loops, and we had quite a good amount of people for our area. Not once did it get violent. We didn't hold up traffic, we were polite to everybody who wasn't involved, and we kept ourselves and them hydrated in the heat. Many of us brought water bottles that we were just handing out to everybody to make sure that we stayed alive, because that is what matters: staying alive. It was, in many of our minds, a complete success. And ours is not the only peaceful protest either. In many cases, the local police have even been seen marching with them and supporting the protests. Others have not been so gracious, going as far as trampling people who were simply sitting in a peaceful protest. That is when the riots happen. When you push anyone or anything too far, the only answer is they push back. History shows us that. This isn't our first bout with the hideous face of race oppression, but that beast of burden should have been beaten back long ago. There are people in their 80s who have fought this their entire lives and are now losing their grandchildren to the same war that should have been ended so long ago. I love my country. I may not agree with everything, and we definitely have some things that we need to fix, but it is diverse. It is beautiful, with diverse and beautiful people. People who are full of potential. And if we look just a little bit deeper than the color of our own skin, then we will realize that potential, and that the diversity is what makes it beautiful. We are here because we stand together, because life is precious, because we need to shed our old ideals and move forward together as a species. My love to you all. United we stand.
Out here with their signs. Again, all of this unfolding right across the street from the Red Bluff Police Department, and you can see the police officers out on the roof right there. And here they go crossing the street right now, right across from the Red Bluff Police Department in the crosswalk. And the officer's up there on the roof right now. And they are going